welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for clicking on today's video. So today's video is a request by one of my subscribers who asked me to do a video on how and where is it that you match your foundation to. So for anybody that's new to my channel, I did do a video quite a few months back which was basically my foundation 101, was breaking down undertones and how to discover your undertone and how that relates to foundation. And then I kind of went through my entire foundation collection at the time, doing swatches for you so that you could see what those colours look like against my skin tone. And so today's video is kind of like building upon that, because I didn't talk about in that video what to do if you found a foundation that's a little bit too light or a little bit too dark for your skin. How do you make it work? And for me, I match foundations in two ways. Either I match it to the center of my face or my chest, which is typically lighter, or I match it to the perimeter of my face, which is kind of similar skin tone to my neck. So my face, the center of my face is actually quite light compared to my neck. My neck's quite dark, and you can see between my neck and my chest the difference in color there. So I match my foundation to one of the two, and I'm going to basically explain in this video how to make those foundations work, because as we know, for most of us who are deeper and darker in skin tone, then we're not just one uniform tone. If you are hella lucky. Well done, thank the gods, you must have done something right when everything was being dished out. For the rest of us, we are, a patchwork quilt of lots of other different colors. So one foundation isn't always going to match you 100% perfectly just because you've got lots of different colors on your face. So for me, the center of my face is lighter and the perimeter and my neck is darker. So I have to figure out how to make foundations work. Whether I put on a foundation that matches the center of my face or I put on a foundation that matches the perimeter of my face, it's not going to be 100% right. And there's ways to play around with makeup to kind of balance it and bring it back to that natural, nice looking kind of a beat and a face. So that's what I'm going to explain in today's video. So if that sounds interesting, then please make sure to go ahead and keep watching. But before you do, of course, I can't start this video without letting you know that you need to hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, hit it right now, subscribe, join the fan gang. It would be lovely to have you on board. And if you haven't already, please also make sure to go ahead and follow me over on Instagram, Olivia Akumu. Follow me there for my daily tidbits and keeping up with my life over there. And also, before we start, can I give a nominal shout out to this hair and my amazing earrings. Hello! My hair is an extension. It is the Fashion Idol Natural Afro. It comes quite nicely and neatly kind of packed, and then I kind of just finger combed it and kind of just attached it to the back of my head. So that's what's going on over there. I am in love with this look. Although slicking down hair, you guys, I am not a natural hair person. Trying to get this hair to lie down. Kudos to anybody that's doing natural hair slicked down, as in I have struggled with this hair this morning, but I managed to get it together. And my earrings, as most of my earrings seem to be from at the moment, they are from Beauty Galore Kenya on Instagram. I love those guys. I've been ordering way too many earrings from them, so go check them out if you'd like to grab yourself a pair. Otherwise, let's just get started. Alright, so I know my undertone, but where do I match it to on my body? Do I match it to my face? Do I match it to my neck? Do I match it to my jawline? Do I match it to my chest? And basically there's a zillion different ways that you can match your foundation. The way that I like to do it is basically based on the way that my skin tone is set up. And so the way that I match my foundation is kind of like one of two ways. I either choose to match my foundation to the lightest part of my face, which is in the center, which kind of corresponds to the color on my chest, especially when I've not got a tan. Or I match it to the perimeter of my face, which ends up being a little bit darker. So have a look in the mirror, look at your face, see what kind of different things you're seeing. If your face is like mine, then you've got an option to either match it to the center of your face, or to your chest, or to the perimeter of your face. I'm going to do swatches here on my chest of a couple of different foundations that I have, just so that you can get an idea of exactly what it is that I'm talking about. So my lighter foundations, if you like, are a number. I have the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, which I have in the shade 360. I have the Maybelline Superstay foundation, which I have in the shade 362, and that's Mocha and Truffle. I have the Pauline Cosmetics foundation in the shade 3. And then I also have my MAC Studio Fix Fluids in the shade NW NW48 and NW50. And then for my darker shades, I have the NYX Total Control Drop in the shade Deep Cool, and I have the Rimmel Match Perfection in the shade Deep Chocolate. So these two are my darker shades, and the other ones are my lighter shades. Of course, also your foundation shade could change according to the time of year. Now we're going into summertime here in Kenya, so as the months go by, December, January, February, it gets really, really hot, and then your skin tone is typically, of course, going to go darker if you are out in the sun. So that will also affect how you choose your foundation shade. So let me just get started on doing some swatches as I take you through these. So the first one I'm going to swatch is the Fit Me in the shade Mocha. This is quite a good match for me. I hope you can see that on screen. It's quite a good match for me. When I put it on my face, I guess people probably think, oh my god, that's not your foundation shade. But once it's blended in, then you can see how it works. Also, when I blend it on my face, if I blend it here towards the perimeter of my face, then it probably looks like it's too light because it's going against the darkness of my skin. But it's not, it's just because it's near the edge, so it looks like it's lighter. Because if I bring it in, you'll see how it kind of like matches in with my skin. So that's that one. The one that's quite similar to it is the Superstay in 362 Truffle. I found that in the Superstay you have to go up a number to get it to match your colour in the regular Fit Me. So I'm just going to swipe that here next to it. It has a little bit more yellow in it, but it is actually kind of like the same shade, but just like a little bit more yellow. So it has a slightly different undertone. I love this foundation, absolutely love it. And that's what it looks like there on my skin. You also have to be wary of the fact that foundations look different when you just kind of swatch them as opposed to when you blend them in. Because once you blend them in, they start looking like something completely different. You have to bear in mind that you'll be using a sponge or you'll be using a brush, so it will end up coming out a little bit different. I'm going in now with the next one, which is my Pauline Cosmetics in the shade 703. Pauline Cosmetics is the most golden of the three that I've put on so far. And that's what it looks like on my face there. But as you can see, the closer it gets to the centre of my face, the more it blends in than it does to the outer part of my face. Then I'm going to try, this is completely finished now, my MAC NW48 Studio Fix. But I'm going to try and see if I can manage to get any of that out of the bottle for you, just in case you are a similar shade. Sorry, this is NW48, I don't know. It's the teeny tiniest amount. Honestly, I don't even think you can see that. It falls somewhere in between the Pauline Cosmetics and the Superstay in terms of colour. Sorry, that's completely finished. So let me go in to NW50. These foundations also, should mention, start to look different once they have dried down on the skin. When you first swatch them, they look a certain way, and then the more you work with them and they dry down to their real colour, then you can kind of see what they look like on. NW50 for me actually looks quite neutral in terms of it has a little bit of a pink shift to it underneath. It's not as yellowy and orangey warm as the NW48. So those are some of the lighter shades. So we started off here with the 360 Mocha Fit Me, and then the Superstay in 362. Then we've got the Pauline Cosmetics in 703. Then next up is the NW48, followed by NW50. Right, then I want to show you these darker shades. So I've got the Total Control Drop in the shade Deep Cool. I'll just swatch that right here in the middle. You can see the coolness of that. It looks a little bit red in its undertone. And let me just put it over here on my face. It looks like a great match because it's closer to the perimeter of my face. But once it dries down, it does actually present a quite deep colour. You can already see what it's doing there on my chest. And then we've got the Rimmel Match Perfection in the shade Deep Chocolate. I'll just put that next to it there. That's a little bit more golden. It's not as red as the NYX Total Control drop. So they're right next to each other there. So we've got the NYX Total Control drop in Deep Cool, and then we've got the Deep Chocolate there by Rimmel. So that gives you an idea basically of what the colours look like on my skin, and I hope it's going to show up on camera so that you can start to see the difference between the shades. As I said, once they dry down, you do start to see the true kind of colour of what they are like once they dry down. As I'm looking over here, I can see the two Maybelline ones have dried down quite similar. The Superstay is just a pinch lighter and a pinch more golden. The Pauline Cosmetics is very yellow. It's almost like an olive kind of a shade. And then the NW48 is... Then we've got the NW48 and the NW50 from MAC in Studio Fix. As I said, the NW50 has a little bit more pink in it. And then here the two dark ones, that's the Rimmel and the NYX. The Rimmel is a little bit more golden and the NYX is a little bit more, pulls a little bit more cool, so it has a little bit more of a red undertone to it. I'm going to clean off my face now. So unless you are ridiculously lucky, it's really hard to be able to find what you would call an absolutely perfect foundation match. So what you want to do, in my experience, is just to try and find something close enough that you can work with. So long as the undertone is right, then you should be able to get away with playing around with the foundation to make it look okay. And even if it's not 100% perfect on the undertone, so long as it's not completely leaning towards one side. So if you are really yellow, so long as it's not really red or orange, or if you are on the cooler side, it's not like a super golden one, because then that's when you get into like ashy territory or just like pumpkin territory, and you really don't want that. Okay, so you've bought your foundation and it's on the lighter side. How do you work with that to make sure that it matches your face? So the trick is, if you have one that kind of matches the lighter parts of your body or your face, then you do 100% need to go in and either contour or bronze the perimeter of your face. That will just bring some balance, and it will also allow you not to have too many harsh lines. So for me, as you can see, my neck is considerably darker than my chest and than my face. So what I would do is to bronze the perimeter of my face so that there's not any harsh line between my face and my neck once I've put my foundation on. So at the moment I have two powders that I love to use to bronze and contour my face, and that is the LA Girl Pro Face Powder in the shade Cocoa. It's a really nice warm brown, which if you're my skin tone will work perfectly either as a contour or as a bronzer. Go light if you want to use it as a bronzer. And then the one that I've just literally fallen in love with and will always repurchase is the Black Radiance powder in the shade Ebony. It's just, for me, the perfect bronzing powder. It has enough ready warmth to it, but without being too red, to kind of bring like a really healthy look to the rest of my face, especially if I've gone in too hard with like the concealer highlight. If, however, you've got a dark foundation which matches the darkest parts of your face, then what you want to do is to make sure that you go in with a concealer that is brightening in the center of your face. So you want to bring back that lightness in your face, otherwise you'll just look lost. So what I would do is go in with your favorite concealer. You guys know that I love the Makeup Revolution concealer, and I use that all the time. I've just recently started using the Colourpop concealers, and I'm really enjoying them. I really like the shade Deep Dark dark 46 is what I'm using to highlight my face at the moment. If you want to go a little bit brighter, if you're my complexion, then you go for dark 40. And so if you're going into store and you are going to be matching your foundation, just a couple of top tips. Number one, match it to where you want it to match. So if you want to match it to the brightest part of your face, make sure you are matching it in the center, or wear a top where your neck or chest is exposed, and then go in and swatch it, and then swatch it on your chest. Top tip number two is to take a walk around. The lights in makeup shops and in anywhere that you basically would go to buy your foundation is not natural light. It will throw you off. You'll think you found a shade match and you haven't. So just take a swatch of it, go walk around, let it dry down so that you can see what it looks like. Sometimes the foundation looks really light when you swatch it, and then it dries down quite dark, and then it is or oxidizes. So do that, walk around, and then come back, and then you can pick the foundation that you want to buy, basically. So most of the times when I do my foundation here on camera, I'm going in with my Colourpop primer. I will go in with the lighter shade. Most of my foundations actually match me on the lightest part of my face, which is the center, or match my chest. So you guys will be very familiar basically with how I do that. I just want to show you basically how I do it when I'm using a dark foundation. So I'm going to go in with the Rimmel, and actually I want to try, and I'm going to try this with my Wet n Wild Flat Top Kabuki brush. I've been using this for powder only, but I want to see what it does with foundation. So I've just put one pump into the center of that brush right there, and then I'm just going to dab this onto my face. So you guys will see as I put this on, it's matching really nicely to the edge of my face. But watch what happens when I take it into the center and how dark my face becomes. My face becoming dark is not a problem. It's just that then I lose the dimension of my face. And I quite like having that dimension with the brighter center. I just think it's really flattering. This brush is really nice. Okay, so I've applied my foundation, and you can see that's given me like nice one even skin tone, and you can see how that's blended in with the perimeter of my face. It looks natural, it looks like it blends, it looks like it belongs. So I'm going to go in with the Colourpop concealer in dark 46 and just apply that under my eyes, here on my nose and on my forehead, a little bit on my cupid's bow and on my chin, because that's typically where the brightness appears on my face. So I'm going to blend that out now with a brush. You can do this with a sponge. Okay, so once I put that concealer on, you can see that's brought back the brightness to my face. And then I'm just going to go ahead and set, oops, wait, I've just spilled so much powder. Okay, so I've set my concealer, and because I have set, then it's not 100% necessary that I go around the edge with the bronzer to bronze up the rest of my face. But I do just want to bring a little bit of warmth to my cheeks. So I am going to go in with my Black Radiance powder and just add a little bit of warmth to my cheeks. And because there is a lot of powder, I have to, of course, go in and melt down those powders with a little bit of setting spray. So that's going to help all the powders kind of blend in together, meld together, and become really beautiful. Let me go ahead and just do my lips real quick. Alright, so I've finished off the rest of my face and this is the finished look. So as you can see, I've brought back the balance to my face with using that concealer in the centre of my face just to brighten it up. But the perimeter of my face still looks like it matches my face. The thing is, you're not always going to be able to find the right shade in the market. So if you can find one that matches the centre of your face, then definitely grab it if you like that foundation. And then you can work on bronzing the perimeter of your face. You guys have seen me use this powder before, I love it. Also, you guys have seen me use this powder before, I love that. So grab a powder that you really like and use that on the perimeter of your face to bring the warmth back. If, however, you can find a foundation that matches the darkest parts of your face, then don't leave that behind either. Grab that, but then you will have to go in with a concealer, definitely, to brighten up the centre of your face. So it's really just up to you how you want to do it. I find that when I'm using my lighter coloured foundations, that I don't go in as hard with the concealer, trying to brighten the centre of my face as I did today. So it's just kind of playing around with it, but I think there's a spectrum of colours that you can use. Just try and make sure that you get your undertone correct. So long as you've got that right, then it won't look too off either way. And that brings me to the end of the video. So I'm hoping this was quick and explanatory, and I'm hoping it was useful. As per usual, if there is anything that wasn't clear or any questions that you want to ask, then please leave me a comment down below and I'll make sure to get back to you. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.